Welcome to Fuel by Coffee podcast. My name is Matt. I am your host. Today we are bringing you part 2 of the I Want to Be a Backyard Wrestler episode. Yes, I said wrestler. I am joined here with my neighbor JT, who I grew up with. We've known each other for about 15 years. In the last episode, we covered how we met, me getting into professional wrestling, just us backyard wrestling as kids, using our imaginations. We're going to give a quick little recap. We talked about, we started wrestling in your backyard, in your side yard, just putting on little stupid matches for fun. And then as we, I don't want to say got older, but just as time kind of went on, we started coming up with our own characters instead of stealing characters from the WWE, even though ours were kind of carbon copy characters of those in the WWE. We would have like our own little pay-per-views, even though it was just us there. We had all the belts, we had champions, we had all sorts of different kinds of matches, storylines, what have you not. And as time went on, things got more complex, and in came what we're going to talk about today. JT came into, I don't want to say contact. You were handed down a trampoline.
Oh, yes.
Which to every kid, any kid who likes professional wrestling or who likes to watch wrestling or backyard wrestler, whatever, having a trampoline was like the pinnacle of like, yes, let's have wrestling matches on the trampoline. And we can attribute that to Matt and Jeff Hardy, two of our favorite wrestlers of all time. They, when we were kids, we were like 9-10 years old. This video was shown on an episode of WWE where these two guys who are now huge, successful.
I think it was actually the DVD set we got.
Was it?
The Hardy Boys story. Remember when they had those videos of like how they became wrestlers and everything like that?
That's right.
We had the Hardy Boys set, and yeah, that's where we saw both of them wrestling in their backyard on a trampoline, and they started out in a trampoline professional wrestling company.
Yeah,
and that's what they did. And me and Matt here, we were very inspired by it. Like we were definitely inspired by the fact is like they were doing stuff on a trampoline, and us as kids, like dude, like a trampoline was like everything. Like we were so pumped to get it. Like I kept telling Matt, I was like, yo, it's coming. Like dude, when it's here, man. Like, we're gonna do so much crazy stuff on this thing.
Yeah.
And when the trampoline finally came, like, oh dude,
I remember that morning. It was a Saturday, and it was like beginning of summer, probably maybe like end of the school year. Maybe it was probably like May. Like April or May, because I remember it was warm out, school was coming to a close, and I just remember looking out the window Saturday morning, and your dad's pickup truck was sitting in the driveway with all the trampoline parts in it, and I was like, yes, it's time to get serious. And I remember I came over, I think I helped you guys put it together. JT touched on it on the last episode. If you didn't hear the last episode, actually, you can go to the Season 2 playlist right here on SoundCloud, and I'll have every episode so far from Season 2 posted, and just check them out. If you want a recap of the first episode, or if you just want to check out the whole thing, go check it out. But as JT said in the last episode, the trampoline was a square, and being a wrestling fan, that's pretty close to a wrestling ring. And so we were like, this is tight. I mean, it had its flaws. It was missing a couple springs. There were a couple of little holes in the mat, which we will get to later on. There's a twist in the story, and I think everyone knows what's going to happen. But, yeah, it wasn't a perfect trampoline, but it was perfect for us.
Yeah. Being,
like, kids and what we wanted to do with it.
We scrubbed down those mats. Remember when we got those mats and there was, like shit all over them?
Oh, yeah.
And, we, literally hosed them down, scrubbed them, dude, and yeah, it was definitely seen better days of a trampoline, but yeah. It was definitely perfect enough for us to just to be like, yeah, this is the best shit we ever had in our lives as kids, man. We had our electronics, we had our action figures, we had all that, but dude, a trampoline, that was the next step of life.
Yeah, because for so long we had thought what if we could get a trampoline, or we wanted to get a trampoline because we'd been wrestling in a backyard or a side yard, just on the dirt and the grass, and we could do so many more moves and stuff. We could do flips onto each other and stuff. We could do we started suplexing each other.
It wouldn't hurt as much.
Yeah. And, you know, because, like, in the grass, like, you know, you would kind of try and fall softer, especially, like, if it was, like, the fall, you know, because the ground would get really hard, or even in the summer if it was really dry out. And, like, even in the summer, like, there were ticks, there were, you know, like, me being allergic to grass, I'd get super itchy, you know. Like, there were just a lot of downfalls to wrestling in the yard. So, like, the trampoline, as he said, was just a step up, and that was, like, we stepped our game up with everything. You know, we could, as he said, do moves that we couldn't do in the grass, or, you know, like, we could just go harder, like 10 times harder. And I remember, as we talked about in the last episode, our little promotion was the WWEK, World Wrestling Entertainment Kids. Yes, sir. Very original, or I guess unoriginal name, but we were kids. You know, we were probably like 10 years old when we came up with it, and it was just like, it was just our imaginations, man. And it was a good thing, I think, that we were kids with imaginations, because I think a lot of kids nowadays that are 9, 10, 11 years old don't really have an imagination. They're just glued to their devices and
Fortnite.
You know, like we talked about in the last episode, our generation was like one of the last ones, maybe even the last one, that was like, go outside. Your parents would say, go outside and play in the summertime, and you'd be outside until the sun went down, and then it was like, all right, you know, time to come in and go to bed and do it all over again the next day. Whereas kids nowadays, it's just like video games, cell phones, iPads,
you name it. It's just being inside, being homebodies.
Yeah. And so, like, you know, we would go out and just use our imaginations to come up with all these characters and, you know, make up all these match cards and be like, all right, doing this pay-per-view this day, we're doing this show this day, this championship match, this and that, you know. And it was like definitely a lot of fun. I look back very fondly at that time in my life, as I think you could probably agree.
Definitely, man. Without a doubt.
So I think today what we're going to get into, you know, we kind of talked about the start of our little promotion, and we talked about the spin-off, which was in my backyard, the Extreme Backyard Wrestling, which was basically the same thing, just with different characters, and I had quote-unquote weapons in the yard. We would, you know, every match was like a no disqualification match, anything goes. But now we're going to segue back to the WWEK timeline. When the trampoline arrived, it was set up in the backyard. I remember we took the day, it was like a Saturday, and, you know, we got it all set up. We got the mats that go around the springs, we got those cleaned up. And, you know, there were a couple little holes, just duct taped them, you know. It was like, they weren't huge, and they were, you know, smaller than a penny, you know, like they weren't big holes.
It was like dime sized.
Yeah.
Like, maybe if that.
And so, like, we would just, you know, we taped them up. And then I remember by the afternoon, it was probably like 3 p.m., 4 p.m., you know, our parents were like, all right, have fun, don't hurt each other. And I remember they all went and let us do our thing, and, you know, it was kind of like, don't wrestle on it, you know. And being a kid, like, you know, he's like, well, why? That's stupid. But now looking back on it, I see why our parents would be concerned, because there's so many, like, lawsuits that could have been filed if we would have gotten hurt.
Oh my god, dude, you remember the one time when we first built that trampoline and we were doing like pencil jumps, and I pushed you off the trampoline?
That was the time, I think. Yeah, we were doing like pencil jumps, and I think that was like one of the times when like we both jumped at the same time, but I ended up like flying off the trampoline. You like pushed me or something.
I like bumped into you or something like that.
And I ended up like going probably like 7, 8 feet in the air, straight to the ground, like in the grass. And I just remember laying there like, I am dead. And, you know, we had a laugh about it. It was weird. It didn't really hurt. It was more just so like, holy shit, did that really just happen? You know?
My God, yeah. Dude, I remember the time where so there was these mats on the trampoline, and we took them off to have a hardcore match.
Yes.
And I remember when I jumped and I landed in between the springs. Nuts first. And then I forgot, it was one of your friends.
With the way we wrestled is like, we planned like, okay, this is who's going to win. This is how they're going to win. And like, we never actually tried to hurt each other. Like we basically did it like, you know, real pro wrestling. Like we would take care of each other, you know. We'd be like, not trying to kill each other. This kid did not grasp that concept, and he would literally be trying to fight us the whole time.
Yeah, like he would think we're actually kicking, punching, like. Yeah.
And he kicked me in the Adam's apple one time. Yeah. I like couldn't swallow. I was so pissed. I was like, I was ready to fuck him up. But anyways, continue. You landed nuts first on the springs.
Oh yeah, I remember landing nuts first on the springs, and I remember Christian just jumping up and down on the fucking trampoline. And I was like, yo, fucking stop. I was pissed. I remember stuff. And dude, I remember we were jumping in the dark.
Yes.
We
Yes.
we used to literally not have the backlight on, and we used to just jump on the trampoline while it was dark outside.
Yeah.
And we would literally jump on that trampoline like all day until like 9-10 o'clock at night. We'd be on that trampoline, dude.
Oh yeah.
Like we were on that all day, bro. Just literally making all these matches and doing so much, like a whole day of work into like 3 different episodes of WWK, EDW, or SmackDown, whatever the hell else we were working on. And like, dude, the trampoline was that was a brutal place, man. that's where a lot of things happened. And we were doing like swanton bombs, and we were doing like crazy whisper in the winds and all that.
For those who aren't wrestling fans, what is a swanton bomb and what is a whisper in the wind?
That is Jeff Hardy's finishers. If you want to look that up on YouTube, look up the Swanton Bomb and or the Whisper in the Wind. And pretty much what a Swanton Bomb is, it's pretty much like a front flip. And pretty much what you do is you jump and you literally spread out your whole body, your legs and your arms, and you land back first onto the opponent. And then a Whisper in the Wind is when you go to do a backflip, but then you turn yourself in the air and do a front flip, and you're supposed to like kick them in the face type stuff. It's pretty cool. It's all the stuff that Jeff Hardy used to do back when he was wrestling and everything, and that was like one of my favorite things to do on the trampoline itself. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like,
right on.
We were and I remember the one time we brought up a pool ladder.
Oh yeah,
my old pool ladder and stuff. We set that up so to be like the stairs.
Yeah,
the stairs to the ring.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
Yeah, dude.
Oh man. Yeah, that
we make those the stairs to the ring and stuff, and then we'd be like we'd like make that like the top rope.
Yeah, we'd like do moves off of it.
We used to stick it onto the corner of the trampoline and climb on top of it and jump off of it.
Yeah, and I kind of referenced in the last episode, we would get like, if we had the opportunity to, because JT's parents obviously being sane people and not wanting us getting hurt, because like the thing is now as an adult I realize if I would have gotten hurt on their property, we could have sued them. Not that we would have, but with how the world is, like that's how, like if I were a parent, I'd be afraid of the same thing. You don't want someone else's kid getting hurt on your property, your time. But like whenever we had the opportunity to, we'd get out. He had like a padded steel chair. We'd be like hitting each other, slamming each other on it. We'd use the pool ladder.
We used the mats as tables.
Yep.
The trampoline mats.
I think you had like a little step ladder too that we used to, like one of those little like 2-step.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to say step ladder, it was like a step stool.
Yeah. We still have that.
Yeah, really.
The little step stool and stuff, we still have that.
That's funny. Yeah, and like we do all sorts of crazy shit. We would like have entrances. We'd get JT's iHome out. Like, so basically what we would do is we would wait. JT's dad worked night shifts on a Friday and a Saturday night. He would go to New Jersey and work overnight, and he was like the main one that would always be keeping an eye on us and like telling us like, dude, don't do this shit, like one of you is gonna get hurt, we would wait for him to go to work. As soon as his truck was off the street, we were like, all right, in the backyard, get out the iHome, plug in JT's iPod, we'd start jumping and get warmed up, and then it would be like, all right, what are the matches tonight? What are the storylines? And then we'd have like the theme music playing, and we'd come out as all these different characters and put on these shows. We really stepped our game up on that trampoline, and that was a lot of fun. And I guess the one thing in specific I remember, so we talked in the last episode, we had like little pay-per-views, if you want to call them that. There was what we called WrestlePalooza, which was basically our version of WrestleMania, which is like the big WWE pay-per-view every year. Basically the Super Bowl of wrestling, huge event, big crowd, big matches, all the best people. So we'd have like our WrestlePalooza events. The last big event I remember having on that trampoline, and we probably had some more after this, but the one I remember in specific was our last WrestlePalooza we ever did, and we had like, that card was stacked, bro. We had like 5 matches, 6, 7 matches on it. We started at like 2 or 3 p.m. and we ran until like 9 p.m. Like we started at sunset and we finished like the sun was down. It was dark out. I remember we had like a tag team championship match, which I very specifically remember. I think that was the Brood. You brought up we had these characters, the Brood. It was a guy named Disturbed and a guy named Raven, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then they wrestled against, oh man, I don't even remember who, but they had a match against someone. So we had like a tag team title match. That was also the one JT had kind of like a three-faced character, or he had like the three faces. They're all different characters. We had J-Man, which was like John Cena, and American Bad Boy, which is basically the American badass biker Undertaker. For those who don't know, Undertaker in real life was undefeated at WrestleMania, and it was the same thing in our universe. And
he faced J-Man.
So at the last WrestlePalooza we had American Bad Boy versus J-Man, and J-Man broke the streak. There were times we'd plan out the outcome, but I think that time it was just...
I did like 4 FUs on you, I think.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
An FU was John Cena's finishing move. You can go look it up if you want to see it. It's pretty basic. But, yeah, it was like this big match, and that was one of those ones where I think we just did it until we were... We did it. I think it was like we just... We just wrestled until we were like, all right, let's like wrap it up. Like, this was a good match.
Mm-hmm.
And we had J-Man break the undefeated streak, which was a huge thing. You know, that was like, I remember that very clearly.
Was it a title match?
It was, I think it was for the World Heavyweight Championship.
We had, the toy belts.
We had all the toy belts, and I don't even remember. Dude, we had so many championships. Like, we had...
American Bad Boy was like the longest United States champion.
Something like we had the United States, we had...
Spinner belt, bro.
The WWE Spinner belt.
Oh, the United States Spinner belt, the WWE Spinner belt.
We had the World Heavyweight Championship. We had the Tag Team Championships. We had the Intercontinental Championship. We had the Hardcore Championship.
Both the Tag Team Championships.
Yeah.
The Raw and SmackDown. We had 2 of them.
I think I had like one half and you had the other half.
I had the SmackDown one. You had the Raw one, I think.
So like we had all the belts. We had like enough that probably every character could have a belt. That's you know, or at least...
Didn't you have the ECW?
We had the ECW Championship.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there were any other ones. Yeah, we had a lot of...
We had so many old school titles, new school. At the time, new school.
Yeah.
We had all of it, bro. We had the original WWE Championship.
Yep.
The undisputed one before it turned to the spinner belt.
Yep.
We had that one, and we had the actual World Heavyweight Championship. I think you had the NWO one, didn't you? Didn't you have the spray paint NWO one?
I don't know. I don't remember.
We had so many, dude.
That's the thing. We had so many championships. Like I can't remember. But like, yeah, we would basically. I think on this match card, every match was a championship match.
We could just recreate it and buy like the $100 belts.
Put on like a shitty live stream on YouTube. Hey guys, watch us pretend to wrestle each other.
Yo, just buy $100 belts and stuff and just put those on the line and bash each other's heads over each other like we did with the plastic ones.
Yeah.
Ow. Just straight metal. Yeah, dude. Wham.
Damn. Yeah,
replicas, bro.
we had a blast with that trampoline, and I don't remember what match your character Slayer had that night. Slayer was JT's main character. It was like a Stone Cold Steve Austin type character. Just
I actually think I have something over here.
Uh-oh.
I think I have something over here that I need to show you. It's memories, bro.
Well, JT thought he had a throwback. He couldn't find it. What were you looking for?
I was looking for my John Cena chain gang pendant.
Yeah.
That spins.
That shit was all the rage when we were kids.
I thought I had it down here.
But anyways, yeah, I think... Okay, so I was talking about your character, Slayer, who was basically a Stone Cold Steve Austin kind of guy. Badass, giving people the finger, just fighting. Oh, the other thing I neglected to mention, so in WWE, the boss was Mr. McMahon. He was the big dickhead boss who was always beefing with everyone or just being an asshole. JT's dad played that role in our little wrestling federation that we had. So... that's something I forgot to mention, but yeah, JT was just anti-authority. Slayer was anti-authority. Just he and I, his character and my character, we constantly were beefing off and on. We'd be a tag team one week, next week it would be like, I hate you, and then we'd have a match, and then it'd be we're tag team again, and that's just how it went. Oh man, so we were talking about WrestlePalooza, the last WrestlePalooza on the trampoline.
Oh yeah.
Big matches. I don't remember what your match was. You definitely had a match. It was our main characters always had a match.
Yeah, I think mine had a title shot. I think we all had title matches, definitely.
I remember mine was the main event because I remember we did it when it was dark out. It was like a 45-minute or hour-long match. It was me versus
Cody.
No, I think it was Justin.
Yeah, I think
it was like
Justin.
Shawn Michaels type of character for the Intercontinental Championship. That was the main event. And I remember that was a long...
That was like one of the openers.
No, I thought it was the...
It was like one of the mid matches, I think.
I just remember...
the main event was the title match, like the WWE spinner belt.
Was it?
I think.
I just remember like that match being one of the ones I was proudest of. Like when I think of us doing backyard wrestling, that match at that specific like pay-per-view, I'm doing air quotes right now, that show that we did on the trampoline, that last big show, I remember that match I had being like, I remember I went home that night and I was sore because we did, like I said, 5, 6, 7 matches and we played all the characters. But I remember it was one of those nights like when you would lay down in bed and you'd be sore, but you'd be thinking like, man, that was a great night. And like I couldn't wait for whatever our next wrestling show was that we were gonna do. You know, that was the last big thing I remember doing at the trampoline. Is there anything that you remember between then and then? We're gonna get into the death of the trampoline, but was there anything pre-trampoline death that you would like to throw in?
I remember the time where what's it good? Well, there was definitely a lot of good matches on there. There was the time where like I think that was that match with you and Justin. I think that's when I brought the trampoline, the ladder.
Was it?
And I did like the freaking HBK like remake of him jumping off the ladder and stuff like that.
I remember you did in that match. I remember it finishing with you did like a moonsault, which is a backflip for those who don't know. You did like a moonsault onto me and pinned me, and that was like the finish. So it was probably off the ladder.
There was so many good matches on there. That's when like the raid of EBW. Remember when we had that?
God, yeah.
And like all of us got beat the hell up by like the opponents.
Dude, I forgot we did that.
Yeah,
so
dude.
The EBW is like a spin-off I did in my backyard. We talked about it in the last episode, and that was like, you know, kind of different characters, and it was just, I guess we had them come raid, air quotes, the WWEK, and it was like a whole feud. Was that like ECW versus WWE? Was that whole
that was pretty much what it was.
We would steal the
then,
WWE shit.
And then we like TNAK.
Oh my god, TNAK. Yeah, basically that was how originally we were. We just add K to the end of a company because we were kids.
Yeah, it was like the raid. It was like the ultimate raid. Like we got all beat the hell up, and like it was a huge, like it was crazy.
And then like Survivor Series comes around, and you have the big match of both companies.
Dude, like there were so many characters we made throughout that time. Like there were so many, dude, and like there's so many that we like I forget. Like, and then it just comes out of nowhere and pops in my head. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And WDEK, there was just like, it was like what, 10, maybe 12 like different superstars we made. At like in the beginning, there was like only a little list, and then like the list after that, it just got bigger. It just got bigger as the time progressed.
I'm counting them right now. Yeah, so the original list was like 9 people.
It was like 9, 10, yeah. That's insane, bro.
It was some crazy times, lots of fun. We did have one last event after the trampoline. Or well, let's talk about the death of the trampoline now. So we basically had that thing for a summer. You got it like April, May, maybe, and then we used it all summer. Whether it was just out jumping around at night, doing flips, or like listening to music, used to blast music on the iHome, or we put on these wrestling shows. That was like how we spent our summer. And then I remember it was like very end of the summer, maybe like August, or maybe school had even started. It was like a Saturday afternoon. I remember it was super humid and overcast. It was like you walked outside and you were just wet because of how humid it was. And it smelled like fucking cow shit or manure. Like either your dad had gotten some mulch and had it in the yard, or it was like the neighbors had gotten some mulch. It smelled like cow shit. And I remember we're jumping. So JT and I have very different memories of how the trampoline died. So we're both going to tell the stories.
All right.
So I'm going to jump into mine right now. So I remember we just, it's the middle of the day, shitty weather. We're just kind of jumping around. And at the time, so Call of Duty Black Ops was out. That was That was the jam at the time. And the DLC had just come out. The last DLC, the map pack where it was just all zombies maps. It was like the 4 old school ones, and then there was the moon map. I'm sure anyone on here who has played Call of Duty or who played at that time remembers when that came out, and it was like super cool that it was just a zombies map pack. That's what we were talking about. We were like, oh, dude, like the zombie maps and, you know, whatever. Just jawing about it. And then there was a thing in Call of Duty at the time called the Dolphin Dive, where if you would run with your character, you'd have them sprinting and you'd hold the crouch button, they would do this like silly looking dive, and people would do it all the time. Just, oh, look at Dolphin Dive, you know, whatever. The way I remember the trampoline breaking now, as we said in the previous episode, or maybe it was this episode, I can't remember, when it got set up, wasn't perfect, had a couple little holes in the mat, you know, it was missing some springs, but it worked for us, you know, worked all summer. I remember JT doing a dolphin dive, and when he hit the mat, one of the holes that was like the size of maybe a quarter just ripped open from corner to corner on the trampoline, and he fell through to the grass. And I remember just like, I was like on the edge of the trampoline, just like in disbelief. I was like, oh no, did this just happen? And like at the time, we're kids, we're like 11, 12 years old. We didn't have money to fucking go. Like if it was now, we'd be like, oh, let's just buy a new mat. Yeah. But at the time, like you're a 12-year-old who's broke. You have no money. You have no job. You know, you're in school, and it's like. And I remember us just being like, well, that's the end of that. And I remember there was talk of it getting fixed or getting a new mat, and it never happened. And I just remember we went inside. We were not happy. And that was the death of the trampoline. But JT remembers the story differently, so I'm going to let him tell his story now.
The way I remember the trampoline breaking, bro, was you were doing this flip that you always did, where you land on your knees and you did like a pelvic thrust in the air, and then you would do a flip after you land on your knees, and you do a front flip and land on your feet.
Yeah.
How I remembered it is that when you did that, your knee went right through the fucking mat. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Unless that already happened. No, I think that happened, and then I killed it. I think that's what have happened.
So do you think I started it?
I think you started the hole, and then me landing on it just finished the hole.
Yeah.
Like...
I could see that.
I think that's what happened. And I think it got cut open also from the ladder.
Really?
I think the one part that ripped was from when we put the ladder on there to do a couple of matches.
That makes sense.
It might have ripped it.
Yeah.
But
that would make sense because, yeah, I think if I would have made the hole bigger and you would have been like, well, this isn't... We can't do this now. Like, we can't use this now. So you would have just, finished it off maybe.
Or I landed on... I don't remember.
But
all I know is I remember that bitch ripping.
I remember it ripped, and that was a sad day. Because after that, I think backyard wrestling stopped.
Yeah, that was the death of everything.
That was the death of all of our... I don't want to say hopes and dreams, but that was the death of what we loved to do. Like, that's how we spent our days. And then after that, it was like... Well, what do we do now? Like, we weren't about to go back to wrestling in the yard, where it was like, as I said before, you know, there were ticks. There was, you know, like if the grass was wet, you couldn't wrestle. If it was fall or winter, the ground got really hard. Like, it just wasn't a good option, you know. We couldn't go back at this point, so we just kind of stopped wrestling, and we moved on with our lives. And I think we started beefing here and there, and it was because it was like the end of middle school, and it was like, you know, people kind of get in their own mindsets. But that was kind of a bummer, the trampoline breaking. I do remember we had one last event, though, after that. A couple years after that, I had gotten a trampoline. One of the neighbors kind of like handed me down their trampoline. They were moving and they couldn't take it. So I got a trampoline, and then like, you know, months later, I remember JT hit me up. We had I think we had English together. That was like my freshman year of high school. And we had English class together, and you hit me up. You're like, dude, you got a trampoline. Like, can I come over? I remember he came over the one night. It was like, again, probably like the end of the school year, end of my freshman year. I know we were a little bit old to be doing this, but like, if we got joy out of it, what does it really matter? You know, like you only live once. You know, yeah. So I remember you came over one night, and we had like one last show, and it was like, I don't even remember what the matches were. I just remember we had a couple matches on my trampoline, and that was like, it was nice, definitely nice. But yeah, that was the end of the trampoline wrestling. That was the end of backyard wrestling as we knew it. It's a bummer. We put a lot of hours into that. Countless hours, countless
days,
months,
and nights. Years, bro.
Yeah. And it sucks. I mean, it sucked at the time, but now it's great because we can look back on it and do a podcast episode like this. Like, if you had come to me, if I went to myself in that moment when we broke the trampoline and I said, hey, I'm you 10 years in the future, you're going to do a podcast with JT about your backyard wrestling, I'd be like, what's a podcast? First of all, I'd be like, what the hell is a podcast? Second of all, why? Like, I'd be like, no, I'm not, and yeah, it's just
I look like that.
Yeah. You have a beard? What?
This is baby faced ass kids, bro. You have long ass red hair.
Oh man, how times have changed. But yeah,
I got like no hair. I buzz my head all the time.
It's funny. I was always the one with the shorter hair, and now I'm the one with the long man bun, and JT's the one with the buzzed head. Like, we like reversed roles, kind of. But yeah, man, that was the end of backyard wrestling, and it's just cool to look back on it and be able to sit and shoot the shit about it now, and let everyone hear about. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing, some of this stuff now, because it's like, it sounds stupid. It'll probably sound stupid to people that are listening, but it's cool that we can sit down and talk about it now. The good memories that surrounded, this is what we did as kids, as wrestling fans. It started as JT moving into the neighborhood and just being like, do you like wrestling? And then it just blossomed from there. But to wrap up, being that I'm still a big wrestling fan. I can't say I keep up with it as often as I used to now, just because there's way too much wrestling on to watch. There's 4 WWE shows a week, I think. Yeah. And there's AEW, which I try and keep up with because it's really good. And then there's like all sorts of other promotions. It's just too much to keep up with work and having a girlfriend and balancing friends and music and podcasting.
Being a fucking adult.
I just try and catch it when I can. But
doing adult shit, man. We ain't kids no more.
Yeah.
No.
And so to wrap up, I was thinking it would be cool if we could kind of talk about our favorite wrestlers of all time.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a list, but I feel like that would be too hard. So I was figuring we could just shoot back and forth guys that we would say like our favorites.
I fuck with that.
So I'm gonna start. My favorite wrestler of all time. He doesn't wrestle anymore, but I think he definitely changed the landscape of wrestling. Is a guy named CM Punk. He wrestled for probably like 20 years, maybe a little bit less than that. He walked out of WWE because they were not giving him the, I guess, attention and booking that he wanted. Booking being, they were kind of screwing him out of being in big matches, and they were like, oh, well, you're in a main event, even though he's going on halfway into the show. They weren't paying him the money he wanted, and he was just unhappy. So he left. He pursued MMA, got his ass handed to him in 2 fights.
Oh, yeah.
And
they said his fighting career was over before it even started.
Yep. And then he was doing commentary. I think he still does commentary for MMA, but next to that, now he's back with WWE after like 6 years. He showed up. He's on a show through Fox that they have called Backstage, where they don't like have scripted promos. They just do like shoot promos, I guess, so to say, where they talk about how they actually feel about wrestling. So it's like real talk. But yeah, CM Punk, he was just a great wrestler. He did everything. He could fly around off the ropes. He could do submissions. He did strikes. He did everything, and his character was badass. He came out to Kill Switch Engage, and then he came out to Cult of Personality by Living Color, and he was just always my favorite. He wasn't afraid to speak his mind. So let's hop over to you. Favorite wrestler? I guess favorite wrestler of all time, if you had to pick one.
Favorite wrestler of all time? I definitely would have to say Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy,
definitely, without a doubt. Like, all the stuff that he's done, and like all the stories behind his career and everything, and like how he took everything to the next limit. Like, he always, pushed his body to the edge pretty much. Mm-hmm. And like, I always fucked with that. And I like how he always did high risk maneuvers and everything like that. And like his vibe, like the face paint, like hell yeah, all the cool stuff. And like how he used to do his entrance and the cool firework, the pyros and all that.
I would definitely say, for those who aren't wrestling fans, look up a YouTube of Jeff Hardy's entrance.
Oh yeah. It was vibey, and he used to glow and stuff.
Oh
and
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah. I'm surprised you didn't say Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Stone Cold Steve Austin definitely is up there too, without a doubt. It's definitely on my top 5 list because like he was the badass. He was like, I'm the rule breaker. I'm the most toughest SOB known to man. You can't top this. And I always like the whole like attitude behind the character and everything like that. Like that's what inspired my main character.
Yeah. After CM Punk, man, I would have to say as well Jeff Hardy. For all the reasons you said, just super cool. Flew around the ring as a kid. Like when we were into wrestling, it was still kind of like focused around bigger guys who were just strong and would slam each other around. Whereas Jeff Hardy is a smaller guy and he would just be running around the ring and doing flips and stuff. And like the face paint and just his whole character was really cool. So I think for me, he would probably be up there as well. I always really liked Edge as a kid. Edge was like this cocky kind of just douchebag bad guy. He's like, I'll steal your girlfriend and sleep with her in front of you.
Have a whole live sex celebration,
which actually happened on. I mean, they didn't actually have sex on TV, but yeah, that was a segment that was on Raw.
I remember that clear as day, and us as kids were like, "Oh my god!"
We were like,
what is going on here? Why are they in the bed? Why are they?
What are they doing?
Why are they wrestling with their clothes off?
Oh no. Really big favorite wrestlers of all time. Obviously Triple H and Shawn Michaels, classic. D-Generation X, together and separate, really solid wrestlers. The Rock. I always liked The Rock more than Stone Cold Steve Austin. For those who don't know, there's Stone Cold and The Rock. It was a big rivalry. You were always a Stone Cold guy. I was always more The Rock. The Rock was like, baby-faced corporate good guy, and then, I guess he was a douchebag sometimes too, but then Stone Cold was, as we said, anti-hero, just flipping people off, spraying, drinking beer in the ring, kicking everyone's ass. It was like, total opposites. So I guess The Rock would be up there for me.
I definitely would have to say Goldberg.
Dude, it's funny.
I love the fact is the whole thing with Goldberg is that he was undefeated. Mm-hmm. He went 100 and something and 0. One of the longest world heavyweight championship reigns.
Yeah.
Like he was a beast, bro. And like the fact is he's one of those wrestlers that when he came back, he's still like, he's not one of those wrestlers that you see him nowadays, they let themselves go.
Yeah.
Like he made sure to keep himself built. You know what I mean? And he's still that badass. And he broke Brock Lesnar's rib when they first wrestled.
Yeah.
When he did the first spear, it broke Brock Lesnar's rib.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I never knew who Goldberg was as a kid. Like, I didn't know who he was, honestly, till I got older. And I was like, Goldberg? Like, what? I guess Undertaker has to be up there just because he's so legendary. Like, when we started watching wrestling, he was still in great shape, still putting on phenomenal matches. Now that his career's pretty much over, it's like, I don't know, he's not the same as he used to be, but he has to be up there just because of his legend status, I think. I mean, Rey Mysterio's up there, too. He was, like, my OG favorite wrestler.
Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero, very, very talented.
Definitely.
Gone too soon.
Gone too soon, man. And the fact is, one of the last people to ever see Chris Benoit on an actual live wrestling event was CM Punk.
Yeah. They were supposed to have a match at a pay-per-view.
For the ECW championship.
Yeah.
And that's when Chris Benoit, the whole thing with him, and yeah.
It's kind of scary looking at Daniel Bryan, though, because he's like the reincarnation of Chris Benoit.
Do you know they don't want Vince doesn't want to sign Chris Benoit's son?
Yeah, but AEW's gonna do it.
Yeah, dude, and he wants to come out to Chris Benoit's theme song.
Yeah.
Which I'm more than okay with because that theme song is still the shit.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was like one of the coolest fucking intro songs known to man as a kid, dude. You're like, yo, that shit fucking rocked.
Well, the thing is with Chris Benoit, you can, if for those who aren't wrestling fans, I know I've said that a lot because I figure most of you probably aren't. You can look it up on YouTube. He'd come out, his theme song would hit, and you were like, there's this guitar riff, and everyone was like, uh-oh. And then he'd come out, and there'd be like strobe lights. And he comes out, and he has his traps, his traps are so big that he literally has no neck.
Yeah.
And this dude's just jacked, and he'd come out and just, oh my God, he would kill people in the ring.
Oh yeah, dude.
And then he ended up killing himself and his wife and his son, and that's why WWE has erased him from history.
Yeah, and they don't want to talk about the story of Chris Benoit anymore.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. I could see why they did it, but yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it's absolutely god awful.
But yeah, man, just some good memories. loving wrestling, growing up together, just having a blast, in the backyard and doing what we did, man. It was awesome having you on. I'm glad we got to do this little 2-part episode.
Thanks for having me, bro. I really enjoyed this.
Absolutely, me too. If you like what you heard, you can follow the podcast right here on SoundCloud, Fueled by Coffee Podcast. Share it with your friends. I have a lot of cool episodes coming up this season. We got episodes about donuts. We got the season premiere where I talked about music and video games with a local band known as Food Truck. We got episodes coming up where we talk about Wawa. We got episodes about music and diners. There's going to be a diner where we rank all the diners in the Lehigh Valley. There's one about Q-Mart and the wrestling that goes on at Q-Mart, which is a farmer's market, so obviously it's awful. Lots of fun episodes coming up this season. If you like what you heard, give me a follow. Share it with your friends. You can check on the page. I have all my previous episodes up. Check back 2 weeks from now. We'll have another new episode out for you, JT. Is there anything you wanted to plug before we sign off?
Yeah, just everyone have a wonderful day, and make sure to follow me on my Instagram and my Snapchat. It is Ginja Ninja JT. It is GINJANINJAJT on Instagram and Snapchat. And I'm glad that I got to do this cool podcast with you, bro. This was a long time coming, and
10 years in the making.
10 years in the making, bro. Hell yeah. All put together into this one.
It was definitely a blast, but I thank you for coming on. Definitely awesome. And for those listening, check back in 2 weeks for the next episode.